Good morning. So, welcome to Talking to Artists from I keep saying hotel room. It's totally not, although they're treating me super well. So from my hospital room, and I just the reason I'm doing this is because I actually feel okay. I have some respiratory infection that they're trying to get to the bottom of, and so obviously we have to. Oh, hang on, I'm just. Oh, okay, I'm live. I never know. Hi, Wendy. So basically, yeah, I just wanted to say I'm doing it from my hospital bed here at Sunnybrook. They're treating me super well. But the reason for it is because I have this respiratory infection, and people are obviously very concerned about anything that's respiratory right now. And the COVID protocols, I basically have to stay in hospital as opposed to kind of going in and out with outpatient like you would normally do when you're having tests and stuff. So I know a lot of people have been kind of freaked out and thinking that why am I doing this when I'm in hospital, but I actually feel pretty good. Absolutely want to get to the bottom of it. So anyway, thank you for joining us. So today I've changed it a little bit. We're going to talk to Carolyn Laidley Arn. And so we're going to talk a little bit about her inspiration and look at her studio and stuff like that, which is super cool. And we're also going to actually talk a little bit about the risks that artists face with some of the materials that they use. And I think that's obviously, I've had a lot of people questioning why I'm here because of the resin that I use. I can't certainly say that that's not the case, but it might be. So I'm going to let Carolyn in for a little bit. I just wanted to, actually maybe I'll do that right now. Okay, as Carolyn's joining us, I just also wanted to say that, hey Carolyn.
Hi Kate, how you doing? How are you?
Good, I can just see the top of your head though.
Okay, I'll fix that.
So one of the things I did want to kind of mention is that I may have seemed a little bit flippant about kind of being in hospital and doing this call and stuff like that. I just want to let people know that I take it really seriously, and the doctors here are doing an amazing job. Sunnybrook's been really fabulous about trying to get to the bottom of this. And I can certainly see some of the things that the frontline workers in emergency when I was there and the nurses and stuff are doing just a really great job. So really, really appreciate that. Anyway, so you're in your studio, Carolyn?
I am. I have a little backyard studio at my house that I built 2 years ago. And I use it and my daughter uses it, and it's a little oh, love it, just like a little she shed.
Oh, cool. Your kind of your sound is coming in and out, but I don't know if it's me or if it's you, Carolyn. I think maybe you should go out and come back in again. Your video and stuff is kind of, is it? Oh, maybe it's me then. So I'll do that while Carolyn's coming back in. So Carolyn is an artist who is very involved in, oh, sorry. She's an emerging artist with a degree in interior design, and she's worked in construction, and she also right now is working as a commercial real estate. Hi, that's better. And so she's also on the board of the Artist Network and was really, really instrumental in getting us this space working. Can you hear me? Are you good? I don't know. Okay, oh good, okay. She was really instrumental in getting us, working with the City of Toronto, getting us the space at the Artist Network Gallery at Leslie Grove Gallery, so thank you so much. So anyway, yeah, talk to you about maybe you could talk a little bit about your work and your inspiration and show us your studio.
Yeah, so I do work full time, as you mentioned, in commercial real estate. And when COVID hit, that sort of ended. There aren't a lot of people out there looking for office space right at the moment. And at the same time, I had intentions to do quite a few art shows this summer. I did about 9 or 10 last year. And well, suffice to say, they all got canceled as well. So I'll talk a little bit about my art, my inspiration, but why don't I give you a little tour of the studio? It's 10 by 10. So this is like closet size.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I wish I had a space like that.
I share with my daughter. So
And your daughter does
there we go.
pet portraits and stuff. I mean, among other things, but
She,
right?
she does. So this is some of her most recent work.
Oh, cool.
Always the mother is proud, right? And then I have kind of a little storage area over here. I can hang my art there. Table, some art, things that are going to become something else. Um, Storage for work that's already been done. Here's my drawer of spray paint, and we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
But I love it. Uh, and then one of my more recent works, this was done pre-COVID, and this one's about 36 by 36.
Oh, very cool.
So prior to the whole sort of shutdown, I was inspired by silhouettes of people. I was down in Florida over the Christmas holidays, and I took a lot of photographs of people sort of interacting with nature. And my idea
Oh,
was
cool.
to sort of juxtapose those into work and figure out a couple of different ways to do that. This was a Mennonite couple that I watched for, I think, the full day. All they did was look for shells, and it was really cool. And so then I transposed those into these, sorry if you can't see it, sort of stencils, which I hand cut. And then what I've done is I've used them in some ways to have very isolated. These are called the observation series. And in other ways, what I've done is made groupings. And one of the pieces is, this one was in the Riverdale, or in Leslie Grove Gallery. This is the pair to it. This one's called Inhale, but it's really just layers upon layers of spray painted stencils and other kind of materials and screens. And, you know, the funny thing is that this is very, well, I mean, we don't
Sure.
see crowds anymore.
Mhm.
It's weird. Yeah, for sure. So, and again, this is really working with the positive and negative spaces. So, so that's what I was doing pre-COVID.
And it's funny
Um,
too, because you kind of look at it, and it's so funny that my instinct reaction is like they're standing too close together. It's kind of a stress.
Well, it's true. You know, part of what I loved about this is the excitement and the crowd and the, you know, gathering and how people were interacting. And it just looks like a fun, exciting time, except maybe now not so much. So,
Yeah.
you know, it would also be a dream about how we might get back together, or something I would have created post-COVID. So, but in fact, it was before.
Yeah.
So as soon as COVID hit, um, you know, my business sort of dried up effectively,
Yeah.
or went on hold. Everything just sort of froze for a couple of months.
Well, like a lot of
And
artists, you kind of you have your plan laid out. You've got your what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. And the summer, of course, is so critical for artist sales that when that rug got kind of pulled out from everybody kind of had to really do some fast pivoting to figure out what you were going to do, not only with your time, because I mean, a lot of artists had a challenge creating in an environment where they were kind of depressed too, because there was so much uncertainty.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but I know what you did
yeah.
because I've got one right here.
I know. Yeah,
I love it.
absolutely.
Do you love the colors? It's
Oh,
like so
yeah.
me, huh?
It's so pretty. And I have another one that I picked up down at Blue Crow for you.
Oh, excellent.
So
Thank you.
yeah, that's what I did. So basically, since March, I started making masks that were for retail worker, frontline workers, but more the ones that were forgotten. So within a couple of months, or a month or so, I had given away about almost 200 masks.
Wow.
And then now what I've done is I've
I'm having a hard time hearing. Can you guys let me know if you're having a hard time hearing Carolyn as well, or if it's just me? It might just be my phone.
So what I've done is really worked towards making some really great colors and
Carolyn,
fabrics.
Carolyn,
Yeah,
can you hear me? We're having
I
some
can.
challenges
Yes.
with your sound. You're coming in and
Okay.
out a little bit.
Okay. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. So what I'm going to do is that any better or no?
It is better, yeah, yeah. So
Okay. So I
we'll
don't know if it's because I'm inside. No sound. Okay.
yeah, we just kind of
Do you
lost
want?
a lot of the feed when you were talking about your masks. So you were just starting to talk about how you've done 200 masks. So
Okay.
sorry, as we're looking at, we could look at you as opposed to your lovely garden as well, if you
I know. All right. Yes. Okay.
want.
Um, yeah. So I'm going to try to go back in. Sounds like we both sound good now, so that's good.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. So I started making masks, and I was really concerned about making sure there were good ones. There were a lot of ones that were made from China. Basically, you wash them once and they fell apart, and they were in all kinds of awful fabrics that you'd never want to breathe through.
yeah,
And it was a whole movement, and it was a whole, sort of strange time, and every day was different. And that's what I did. And I really got overwhelmed by the time that I spent, and I would work till, 12 or 1 in the morning, just doing them. And I still do produce probably about anywhere between 60 and 80 a week. And then I'm also trying to take a little time off too, because it's tends to burn you out a little bit.
yeah. But I do want to say, like, they are like the fronts are lovely too, but I love the insides too. Like it's like a little surprise you get on the inside, and they've got
Yeah.
the envelope for the filters, and I know you provided the filters and stuff.
Yeah.
So I've watched mine a
Yeah.
number of times, and it still looks amazing. And it's so
Yeah.
handy. Well, it's handy certainly to have something that can kind of tuck in your pocket and you can use all the time. And since I've just tested now for the second time negative for COVID, it works. Um, but I'm also,
Yes.
I guess, vain enough to think that when I deliver my art, I like to wear something that kind of fits my branding of bright colors and stuff like that. So
Well,
that's fun
yes, and
too.
having more than one, so you're not always in the same one,
Yeah.
correct?
Well, mind you, I've been pretty much at home, so I've been doing a lot of isolating anyway. So I have a very
Yeah.
small circle right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so that's been keeping me busy. I'm sort of feeling like I'd like to get back to art, and I participated in the raw exhibit on the front lawn last weekend, which was fun. And it kind of felt good to sort of get everything up and look at it, and
Yeah,
maybe,
that would have been cool. Yeah, and even like
yeah,
obviously there's a lot of this pivoting is around things like the Riverdale Art Walk is now online, and having to try and figure out how to get all of those images online. It's a different experience than it is actually in real life. I mean, art's so it's so tactile. You want to sort of touch it and see it and stuff like that. So
yeah.
that is hard.
Well, I think that the organization, Artist Network, I mean, well, we've been meeting as a board for about 2 hours every week for the last 15 weeks.
Yeah.
And we've surely accomplished a lot to try to help artists. We've got an online show. We've got the Riverdale Art Walk, which is on until
End of this month.
the weekend. Yeah, the end of the month. And it's really helped. We've had some awesome educational seminars. We've got a gallery set up, and Marjolaine Vanderhart goes there, and she'll interview artists in front of the pieces. And I mean, I think that we've been extremely innovative and done everything we can possibly think of.
Yeah.
So surely that's helped.
Yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too. Absolutely. So what
So
do
this is an unusual. Sorry, go
no, you
ahead.
go.
Yeah. So this is an unusual interview, Kate. While you're in your hospital bed, you've done so much for the artists in the community, and you know, it's just amazing, and the testament to how many people that really provided feedback has been amazing, and so many people concerned about you.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Well, and it's interesting
but
because, I sort of talked a little bit of that at the beginning. And of course, when they found I was here, it's kind of like the first thing is like, you need to stop resining. And it's, it's something
yeah,
that for me, I have a love-hate relationship with resin. Like I don't love to do it, but I do love the effect. And
yeah.
sorry, all the announcements happening at the same time. And I do wear, I actually have like an N95 mask that I wear when I'm resining, and I did a lot of research to be careful about that. But I think there's still obviously potential off-gassing that, you don't really know how that's going to happen or what the long-term benefits are. And I think that, it's kind of brought up another point too, that, a lot of artists use things that are really dangerous. Like you use spray paint, but even for myself, like the resin is an obvious danger that kind of is a bit of a red flag for people. But the other part is that, even when I sand the panels and it's a very fine wood grain, like absorbing that into your lungs too is really not healthy. So if I remember, I wear a mask for that too. But you do spray paint.
Well, I took 2 seconds and I went around my studio and I pulled out some things. And I think that a lot of art collectors don't really realize, and I think a lot of artists possibly don't realize too, what the dangers are. So, we'd like to say, well, no animals were hurt during the making of this art, but maybe that's not so much the case.
Yeah.
So just to give some examples, I've got a whole drawer of spray paint, and that's been fairly used. And no brands are intended to be pegged here, so I've tried to kind of cover up a little bit. But, we've got resin masks, we've got spray paint. My beautiful daughter uses oil, solvent, danger, all of these things. And then you get the cadmium colors and oil sticks and different things like that. Yeah. So it's not hard to kind of just reach into a drawer and find many, many things that are extremely toxic for artists in the making of the beautiful art.
Yeah, and it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to give it up when you've sort of figured out your, what you like and what you do. Like I find, for example, the cadmium yellow. I know Liquitex came out with a non-cadmium yellow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was just reading an article on, I think it was an ArtNet about like the 7 deadly things that artists use, and of course cadmium's right at the very top. And it was only because of cadmium, the development of that we can get those really intense reds and yellows and oranges that really weren't possible before. And they say, oh, you can't tell the difference between the cadmium and the non-cadmium, but I swear I can. Like the cadmium colors are just a little bit richer, and so you're kind of in that situation where you have to make a decision of, am I going to reduce the amount? Am I going to use the non-cadmium for health reasons? How big is the health issue? You can easily justify, right, that there's still reason to use the full cadmium. And obviously things like lead and lead paint are not being used anymore. But it was interesting because I was reading, they were saying that one of the reasons that might have contributed to Van Gogh's mental health decline was the fact that he used to suck on his paintbrushes. And of course he worked with lead paint, so lead poisoning, right? In the future past, but you don't know at the time.
Yeah. And I know that your clients are clamoring for the resin. Is something that you've become very well known for. Mm. But I've also seen your new work without resin, with the really beautiful texture, and I love that as well. So
thanks. Yeah, I am trying. I'm trying to kind of marry getting the really super saturated color, because with the wood grain, once you stain it, it can be a little bit dull, because like you can imagine, as the color sinks into the wood, it sort of dulls it a little bit. So by putting like a varnish on top of the panel before I paint on it, that is actually creating, I think, a really nice effect I'm really liking a lot. And the reality is the whole point of palette knife work typically is because the palette is textural. Like you want to be able to touch and see the texture, and the resin flattens that out. So yeah, I'm kind of, for larger pieces especially, I'm kind of trying to move away from that a little bit, for health reasons and longevity reasons and stuff like that. But also kind of, you move and you change, and you kind of want to do something a little bit different too. So the little treasures will probably always resin, just because it makes them a little bit precious. I kind of like I love that preciousness of those.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, but yeah, I mean, I'll look forward to seeing your work as it sort of evolves. And, but I know it was a big, whoops, my dog wanted to come in. I know it was a big consideration, and you've had more than one conversation with the doctors there, just regarding what could it be that is causing you the problem.
Well, and they don't totally know. So there's, of course, so they're still going through a lot of tests and stuff. I have another one this afternoon, but they think it's suspected that actually it's kind of maybe a holdover from the pneumonia I had earlier this year, which kind of totally wiped me out.
Oh, you were so sick.
I have to say, for me too, it was a little bit of a wake up call, because I've always been really healthy, to kind of like, oh, maybe I need to think about this stuff a little bit more and not be so blasé with assuming I'm going to be healthy forever, Especially now, looking at myself, I look really old and haggard. But I think so, and I've done, even when I ordered my mask, it was interesting, because when I ordered it on Amazon, it was an N95, and it kind of said, are you a professional? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a professional artist, so I'm going to tick the professional. And of course, now I realize it's like they already were kind of realizing there was need for the N95 masks with the healthcare workers and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but, it kind of reminds me actually of when you're pregnant, like when my mother was pregnant, she smoked, I think, with my brother, with one of us or whatever, because it was kind of like, that's kind of what people did. Everybody smoked, and you might cut down on your cigarettes, but you still smoked. When I was pregnant, there's no way I was going to smoke. And there was no way I was even going to let anybody who smoked inside my house, which, 28 years ago was kind of radical. I remember my mom getting kind of pissed off at me. But there were other things that we did do that was totally acceptable at the time. And then now there's things where it's like, well, I can't believe you do that when you're pregnant, right? And you're like, well, you don't know. And, hang on a sec. I have to get the phone. Hello? Yes?
Oh, well.
Okay, hang on one sec. I'm just doing my dinner order. Sorry?
Oh, well, I think that Kate that she had butter chicken last night, and it was really quite delicious. So it sounds like the hospitals are really treating the patients well. Because they didn't know what Kate had, she had to be in isolation. So they're feeding her well. I was mentioning about the butter chicken last night.
So I'm having turkey meatloaf tonight.
So you're not going home for dinner tonight?
I don't think they know. So I think they're just, they do their orders, but yeah, it's kind of weird. Sorry about that.
Well, hopefully by tomorrow. But I think important, once you're in that hospital, to find out what's going on and make sure and get it dealt with.
Yeah. Yep, we will. Yeah. I'll be good. I'll be fine. And I'm sure I'll still be using resin. I'll just be a little more careful with it. I know.
Yes, absolutely.
And people say, maybe you can kind of farm it out to somebody else. I'm like, well, that doesn't really seem right. That, it's not good for my health, but I'm willing to have someone else risk their health for it,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. So, but it'll be nice to kind of, as we sort of open up and getting back to normal a little bit. I think our gallery's starting to open on Saturdays, so Wednesday to Saturday, and we'll have limited people in and practicing social distancing and all that kind of thing. But there's a new show coming up, and I think we had quite a lot of submissions, so pretty cool to get that going again.
Oh, it's going to be so nice. So nice. Yeah.
No big crowd. Yeah. So I think that I'm going to start painting again. I felt like I'd like to do that. And Lori Mirabelli is having a course, and I've signed up for that because I thought that was kind of fun.
Oh, cool.
And I love
she's my guest next week.
I know she is. Yeah, absolutely. So that should be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And, other than that, it's the weather's starting to get nice. We can all go out and get our hair done and our nails, which is kind of cool. Although I had an old friend visit me in the backyard a week or so ago.
Yeah, the social part will be nice to get back to, for sure. I mean, I've been so blessed to have Art Alchemy, because it's I've been able to go there, and I find even just change of scenery has been really fabulous, and we're really careful about who's there, and cleaning everything and making sure we're all safe. And so.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that there's a lot of work coming out of your studio that's been really, really great. I mean, you're doing some new things, and Lisa Hickey and Karen Jeffries,
Yeah.
and it's been really, really great.
Well, and Linda Brown is their other artist, and we haven't really seen much from her because I think she just started her Instagram post. But some really cool portraiture, which kind of is really, really neat. Like I find a lot of people don't do portraits and the figure as much anymore. So like I'm really loving some of the stuff I'm seeing that she's doing too. It's kind of cool. Yeah.
Well, it'll be nice once you can open up the bubble and get everybody together, because I know the inspiration in the studio is really important.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. And we also now have 2 empty studios, which of course haven't really been able to rent during the COVID. So hoping that, we can get those filled too, because it's a nice energy when everybody's kind of there and able to work. And hopefully we'll do evening. Have some drink.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I guess, do you have any art fairs left, or is there anything that you're participating in?
No. So, I mean, Art Walk in the Square is still potentially a go. And actually, because it's an outdoor show, it looks like it could actually happen. And we'll have to do some interesting social distancing rules for the artists and stuff, which could be kind of a cool thing. Art San Diego was just canceled, so not unexpected. And even if it was I didn't think I was going to be able to go to San Diego anyway.
No.
And the One of a Kind, there's a lot of question about whether or not that's going to happen since it's indoors, and even with social distancing, how that's going to be kind of managed. So that'll probably go online. But I think what will end up happening is I'll probably end up having to do more of a, maybe we'll do something at Art Alchemy where we'll have, I don't know, a show and sale. It's hard to know because we don't really know what we can do. I mean, at least with Art Alchemy, it's nice because we can control the people coming in and out. But also we have to make sure that everybody else within the community and everything is comfortable with that. So,
well, I think the Bayview Studio Tour is coming up too at the end of September, and if we can be outside for that, then that would be.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. So that'd be fun. Yeah,
I usually do it in my backyard, so that's pray for no rain, but
yes,
who knows?
Yeah,
but so that's excellent. I see Angela just joined as well. So
our creative adventures, which is another thing on hold, which I really miss. I can hardly wait to do again.
Yes. Nice outfit, Kate. I like the background as well. Yeah.
And look at this. I've got my
Oh, nice. Wow. Wow. But it's good to see the hospitals are taking it seriously. Like, from what I understand, you don't feel sick, but there's some underlying condition that they have to get to the bottom of. And as long as you are in the hospital, they don't let you out until they figure it out.
Yeah.
What a great system we have. I'm sure glad we're north of the border as opposed to south.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Like 4 days in the hospital and in an isolation ward with my own room, which is like be killing me probably. Well, hopefully I'd have insurance, I guess. But
right, absolutely.
I'm looking forward to going home and having a shower, I have to say.
Yeah, I bet.
Oh, that's probably TMI. I forget this is live.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you going to get back into the studio, or are you painting a lot lately? Or
yeah, I've got 3 commissions from last week that I kind of have on the go, and a gallery in Maine that's just opened and has sold a couple of my pieces. They're looking for more work. So yeah, I've got lots to do, which is it's great. Like I'm excited to get back into the studio and do some stuff. So
yeah, I think that you've been doing it for a while, which I haven't, and have the relationships and the galleries. For me, I've only been in it for a few years and didn't have those relationships. So when things all closed up, that was kind of,
Yeah, and I think it's also, Christina, it's also, I think, one of those things where it's about building your database and your sales funnel to a certain degree, so a lot of these sales are for people that saw me 3 years ago, 2 years ago. So I think for me, I'm going to see this blip right now with not being able to get out and meet people in 2 years or in 3 years when they're ready to buy, like maybe a larger commission or something like that. So,
well, yes or no, maybe you'll change and the collectors will keep on keep on buying from you, and I'm sure that'll happen.
Maybe.
But
Well, and the galleries are opening now too, and so they're really actively. I was supposed to actually drop off
yeah,
a bunch of stuff to Mountain Galleries in Stratford tomorrow, which obviously would not happen. Um,
yeah,
and then Art Gallery of Hamilton, because I've got some pieces in their show and sale too. And so it's kind of like one of those things where everything kind of got a little bit of a grinding to a halt this week, but hopefully get back on it
yeah.
next week. Oh, and Andrew said, I
But
had no idea, Carolyn, you've not been painting for that long. Yeah, it's because she's so brilliant.
oh yeah, right. I'm AAA, so you know, like everything that normal people do in, you know, 10 years, I've got to do in 2. So,
Yeah.
and while working full time on a commission only job. So there you go. But the other thing that I was going to say is that uh, through all this time, there are many silver linings, and I think that we can't ignore them. You know, like you've kept a really positive attitude, and I know it's sometimes harder to keep a positive attitude than just sort of circle the drain.
Mhm.
But
Some
you
people
know,
call
as
me
a couple
delusional,
of
though,
friends,
just to let you know.
pardon me.
Some people call me delusional.
Well, even still, you're getting through it, you know, and whatever it takes to do that. And I think that, you know, you've thrived and you've survived through all of this. You were very sick at the beginning of the year, but you sort of picked your paint knives up, and you've been working like crazy. And not only with working at your own business, but also with Artist Network, and making sure that we had a really awesome online experience gallery, and we've had lots of sales through that.
Yeah. I mean,
And
that's been a real intellectual challenge too. You know, I mean, I enjoyed that piece of it in the same way that if we were able to do Art Walk on the Square, it'll be interesting to try and strategically and intellectually figure out the pattern of like, how do we drive people in there? How do we keep people safe? How do we provide opportunities for artists to still sell in an environment? So, you know, for me, I kind of need
yeah,
that yin and yang. Like, I suspect you're probably like that as well.
well, I think the challenges bring opportunities. I mean, you know, in the kind of wacky world that I've been living in and what I've been doing, you know, I've sort of learned that I love working with fabrics, and I was never a sewer before. You know, I would pull out the sewing machine, the dusty sewing machine, to do pillows or something like that whenever I needed. But other than that, I wasn't a sewer, and so I've put in a lot of time, and I've kind of learned um, that it's just a different medium. It's, you know, they're beautiful fabrics, and putting fronts and backs together and making sure the construction is good, and is it safe, and does it, you know, and those are all things that may not seem important to a lot of people, but became very, very important to me and to what I was doing, because probably like you, I only do things one way, and that's the right way, and do the best I can
Yeah.
with the information I have. And even in the beginning of it, it was challenging, and you had to be really resourceful to find things, find fabrics, find materials. Like, I wasn't one of the ones that took all my old sheets and cut them up and started giving them away for masks. But I would go, you know, masked down to Queen Street to a shop that was all papered up, and knock on the door and phone the person.
Like
And it
stealth
was
mask
all,
making.
woo, you know. So it was a pretty good experience, you know, just to source things and that sort of thing. And I learned a lot from that.
Mhm.
So yeah, who knows
That's cool. And
what the
so,
next
so your
experience will.
masks are available. So the company's backyard studio, which is super cool because now we've seen her
Yes.
backyard studio. And they're available at
Yes.
Blue Crow. And they're available from you as well, or just from Blue Crow?
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, the goal, and especially with Jody taking them on, we both just want to get them out to people. So, you know, people are sort of slowly realizing, oh, I have a mask. Well, guess what? You need to change them like underwear, because, you know, you need one
Yeah.
every day. You need to wash it every time you wear it. You can't use it again after you've contaminated it, and
You want it to match your
on and on
outfit.
and on. They have to match your outfit.
Cool.
Yes, absolutely. And so like for me, I've got, fruits. If I've had people that are, gin and tonic lovers and whatever. But those were the limes. They all went yesterday. But yeah, no, I'm making them on an ongoing basis and having a lot of fun. So they are available at Blue Coat Gallery. And Jody also sells Karen Jeffries masks, and hers are different. And as Jody says, people are looking for one type or the other. Not many people make the pleated masks like I do.
Yeah.
I make them because I think that they're safer, but everybody usually likes the fitted ones because they look better. But yeah, so.
Yeah, so Marjorie, memory art girl, Marjorie's saying 7 masks. So yeah, you need one for every day of the week, right?
Yeah, exactly. Per person, per household.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, exactly. And it sort of irks me when I'm walking down the street and I'm seeing disposable masks hanging from rear view mirrors. So yeah, and look around, you'll see them all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So
what's the waste?
And Kate,
the waste is
I'm looking at the time.
Oh yeah.
And we're at so we won't run over. We could go on forever. I know that.
Yeah. Well, it's been great. Like, I really appreciated you, being game to do this interview, because we weren't really sure if it was going to happen or not, because I wasn't sure when I was going to have this next test and people coming in for blood work or whatever. So thank you so much for kind of being game to that. And next week we have Lori Mirabelli, who we'll be able to talk to about her, I guess, the courses she's doing as well as her work. And she's she's also kind of really out there, kind of spreading her brand and sharing her story. And after that, we've got Marjolyn Vanderhart, memory art girl, who's actually on today. So thanks. Hi, Marjolyn. Who will talking about her art. And she works very much with sort of memories, which is, I think, probably really, really kind of important now, as people are kind of having more time to sit and think about their lives and their history and their pasts and stuff. But also, she's actually just launched a digital media course, which will be amazing too. So thanks, Jose. I am taking care. I feel totally fine, which is totally the weird thing about being in hospital. But anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for your kind of good wishes and stuff. I was pretty overwhelmed with kind of the concerned thoughts, so I do appreciate that. And thank you, Carolyn, for taking the time. And
well, thank you. And I think it was an important subject today, because you sitting in the hospital and artists worrying how the materials we use can affect what they're doing is really critical. And I think that artists need to know it, and they need to think about it, and collectors also do. Yeah. So, it is something that, we need to think about.
We do.
Anyway, it was great to see you, because I know you can't have any visitors.
Nope.
You're only up the street from where I live, but that doesn't matter. Even your husband.
I don't really get a lot of nurses and stuff come in, because they have to be in the full COVID gear, like the N95 mask, the gown, the face mask.
Wow.
So.
Wow. What precautions, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, I think those are our heroes today.
Totally. They're so great. So great.
Yeah. And to experience that is very heartgetting. So again, stay safe and get better.
I will.
And let's get back to normal someday soon.
We'll see you at the next opening at the Leslie Grove Gallery.
Oh, for sure. Sure. Okay,
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Thanks so much.
And thanks, everybody, for joining us. And I'll post it on Instagram and hopefully Facebook Live, and if I can figure out how to do that. And I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Be careful. And best wishes to everybody. Never works.